Today I will tell you our top 5 tools that you need to start Leathercraft without investing a lot of money. My name is Adrian. I've been working with leather for the last 30 years, and recently my wife and I decided to start our own brand of leather goods. Now I know you are surprised, but that is the truth. You only need 5 tools to start Leathercraft on a budget. Watch until the end to see what we consider the most important items you will need for leather crafting. Number 1, cutting mat. Second, cutting tool. Third, a caliper. Fourth, a stitching awl. And then finally you would need needles and thread. Self-healing cutting mat. Set up your work surface with a cutting mat to protect your table. A cutting mat protects your work surface so that it does not receive any marks from the rotary cutter's blade. It also prolongs the life of a blade by keeping it from becoming dull. Many cutting mats also have grid lines or rulers which help you to measure as you cut. What size cutting mat do I need for sewing, you may ask. We bought size A1 as we aim to make mostly bags, and you need the larger surface to cut the patterns that are needed for your project. To save money you can buy a smaller one to get started, but you will eventually have to get a larger one as your projects grow. If you cannot afford a cutting mat, then you make use of any material that will not be damaged when you cut on it. For example, a tiled floor, but that will dull down the sharpness of the cutting tool. Much better to invest in a good self-healing mat. Second, cutting tool. There are many different tools that you can use to cut leather, and the right one will depend on the project you have in mind. Leather cutting tools play a central role in the leather crafting process. They determine the quality of the finished product. The first place to start is determine what cutting tool is needed. In our case, we decided to start with the sharp scissors that we had lying around in the house. This was great to cut straight lines as well as shapes with curved lines. Remember that depending on the thickness of your leather, this might not be the best tool to cut thicker leather. But the best way to find out is to test leather cutting with the scissors. The assumption is that when you start with leather crafting, you'll probably start with smaller items like card holders, keychains, dog collars, and then the scissors will be the perfect tool for those projects. Cutting through leather, like any pursuit that requires sharp blades, is dangerous, and it's best to make slow cuts when you get started. But always be aware when you have sharp tools around. Even the most experienced leather crafter ends up with a few cuts along the way. So safety first. Third item that you will need is a caliper. This is also called a wing divider. This tool is perfect to mark your stitch line and position of your stitching holes. The first step is to set the width of the stitching line and then mark this line on your leather. Once the line is measured, you start to indent the leather before making the hole with your stitching awl. In case you cannot get a caliper, the next best thing is to make use of a fork that you have in the kitchen. It might sound strange, but normally a fork will have 4 to 5 prongs, which are evenly spaced with about 5 millimeter, and is the next best thing to use to mark the position of your stitching lines. The next item, a stitching awl. This is a tool with a metal point used for marking, piercing and punching leather. As you develop your skills and expand the leather crafting, you will end up upgrading to diamond chisels, which are used to punch stitching holes all the way through the leather. These tools also take the place of your caliper or kitchen fork that I previously mentioned. They come in a range of hole sizes and width and are generally cheaper because they are meant to be replaced very often. Number 5, needle and thread. There's a variety of thread options for leather crafting. To make it easy for stitching, especially the hand-sewn leather work projects, linen thread is usually run through a piece of beeswax. We call this conditioning the thread, and this helps to reduce static and tangling, and also strengthens your thread at the same time. There is a large variety of different needles, each of which is suitable for a specific purpose. Of course, needles used for leather work are typically dull because the stitching holes are pre-punched. Now for the most important item for your project, a piece of leather. Leather comes in all shapes. For example, here we have a suede leather made from goat skin. Suede is the softer side of the rear of the hide, which makes a very fine nap, what we call, on the item that you will be producing. Next, we'll be looking into a nappa type leather, which is a little bit firmer and can or cannot have an artificial emboss on it. Similar to this next item that I'm showing you, this is a natural, what we call a natural mill pebble. It has no artificial print on it, but again, you soften it through numerous mechanical actions to get this character that you're looking for. The other item that is widely used in the leather goods industry is this, what we call an oil pull-up, or this particular item is called a crazy horse. The next item or piece of leather that we talk about is veg tanned leather. Vegetable tanned leather is probably the most widely used article in the leather industry. The leather has a very good character, it's nice and firm, and has a certain thickness that you can put. And once you've finished stitching your bag, you can then apply waxes or oils on the surface of this material to give it a very distinctive character. Now, as the bag is used, the leather ages obviously, and that each bag has its own personal identity. Therefore, if you use veg tan leather combined with waxes, combined with your skills, you can be guaranteed that nobody else in this world will have the bag exactly the same as you. As a bonus, another great tool is YouTube. I've watched many videos before I started making my first item, and with the knowledge learned through experiences of others, I was able to take on my first project. A little bag for my daughter. Now, this might not look like anything fancy, but remember, it is something that I created. It doesn't need to be a professional looking bag. The stitching lines are all over the place, the edges are not burned, the backside of the strap is not buffed down, but at the end of the day, the most important is taking that first step and consciously cut the first piece of leather to make your first item. It is a great feeling to know that you are able to create something that no one else has made. Now, if you like this video and you want to learn some more about our project of leather crafting, like this video and subscribe to our channel. We appreciate it, and the more subscribers we have and interaction with our subscribers, the more we can improve our leather craft. I hope you enjoyed this video.